If you're over 50 and watching your blood sugar climb despite your best efforts, I need you to stop what you're doing right now and listen carefully. What I'm about to share with you could literally change your next blood sugar reading in the next 24 hours. I'm not talking about some miracle cure or overnight transformation. I'm talking about 3 specific vegetables that science has proven can significantly reduce blood sugar spikes when used correctly, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use them today. I've been helping people over 50 manage their diabetes and prediabetes for over 2 decades. I've seen thousands of patients struggle with rising blood sugar levels, feeling frustrated and helpless as their numbers keep climbing despite following traditional advice. But here's what most people don't know: the timing, preparation, and combination of certain vegetables can create a powerful shield against blood sugar spikes that most doctors never talk about. Before we dive in, let me be crystal clear about something. If you're currently taking medication for diabetes or any other condition, do not stop or change your medication without consulting your healthcare provider. What I'm sharing today is designed to work alongside your current treatment, not replace it. These vegetables are food as medicine, and they're incredibly safe for most people. But we'll talk about important precautions as we go. Now, you might be thinking, I've tried vegetables before, and they didn't make much difference. That's because most people are using them wrong. They're eating the wrong types, preparing them incorrectly, eating them at the wrong time, and combining them with foods that actually cancel out their benefits. Today, I'm going to fix all of that. The 3 vegetables I'm about to reveal to you aren't exotic or expensive. In fact, you can probably find all 3 at your local grocery store right now. But when used correctly, they contain specific compounds that can slow down sugar absorption, improve insulin sensitivity, and even help your muscles pull glucose out of your bloodstream more effectively. We're talking about real, measurable changes that you can see on your glucose meter within hours. Let me share a quick story that perfectly illustrates why this matters so much. Last month, I had a patient named Robert, 67 years old, who came to me frustrated because his morning blood sugar was consistently running between 140 and 160. Despite taking Metformin and following what he thought was a healthy diet, his doctor was talking about adding another medication, and Robert was feeling defeated. I taught Robert the exact system I'm about to teach you today. Within 1 week, his morning readings dropped to the 110 to 125 range. After a month, he was consistently waking up with blood sugar in the normal range. His doctor was amazed and actually reduced his medication dosage. But here's the best part. Robert told me he had more energy than he'd felt in years. His afternoon cravings disappeared, and he even lost 8 pounds without trying. This isn't unusual. When you understand how to use these 3 vegetables correctly, your body starts responding the way it's supposed to. You'll feel more energetic, less hungry between meals, and most importantly, you'll see those scary blood sugar spikes start to flatten out. Now, before we get into the specific vegetables, let me explain why this works so well, especially for people over 50. As we age, several things happen that make blood sugar control more challenging. Our muscle mass naturally decreases, which means we have less tissue to absorb glucose from our bloodstream. Our insulin sensitivity often declines, meaning our cells don't respond as well to insulin signal to take up sugar. Our digestive system may slow down, but paradoxically, we might absorb certain nutrients less efficiently while still experiencing blood sugar spikes from simple carbohydrates. This is where these 3 vegetables become out game changers. They work through multiple pathways to combat exactly these age-related challenges. They provide specific types of fiber that slow down carbohydrate absorption. They contain compounds that improve insulin sensitivity. They help maintain healthy muscle function that's crucial for glucose uptake, and they provide the micronutrients that your body needs more of as you age to maintain optimal metabolic function. But here's what makes this approach different from everything else you've probably tried. We're not just adding vegetables to your diet. We're using them strategically. We're timing them correctly. We're preparing them in ways that maximize their blood sugar benefits, and we're combining them with other foods in specific ways that amplify their effects. The first thing you need to understand is that not all vegetables are created equal when it comes to blood sugar control. Some vegetables, while healthy, can actually cause blood sugar spikes if eaten in large quantities or prepared certain ways. Others are neutral. They don't hurt, but they don't provide the specific benefits we're looking for. But the 3 vegetables I'm about to share with you are in a special category. They're what I call blood sugar warriors because they actively fight to keep your glucose levels stable. These vegetables work through several mechanisms. First, they provide specific types of fiber that create a protective barrier in your digestive tract, literally slowing down the absorption of sugar and other carbohydrates. Think of it like a sponge that soaks up sugar before it can hit your bloodstream all at once. Second, they contain bioactive compounds, natural chemicals that can improve how your cells respond to insulin. Third, they provide essential minerals like magnesium and chromium that are crucial for healthy glucose metabolism but are often deficient in people over 50. Now, you might be wondering, if these vegetables are so powerful, why hasn't my doctor told me about this? The truth is, most doctors receive very little nutrition training in medical school. They're trained to treat disease with medications, not prevent it with food. Plus, the research on these specific vegetables and their blood sugar benefits has really exploded in just the last decade. Many doctors simply aren't aware of the latest findings, but I've made it my mission to stay on top of this research because I've seen how dramatically it can change lives. I've reviewed hundreds of studies, worked with thousands of patients, and refined this approach over years of clinical practice. What I'm sharing with you today, in theory, it's a proven system that works in the real world with real people facing real challenges. Before we dive into the specific vegetables, let me give you the framework for success. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency and smart choices. You don't have to eat these vegetables at every meal or dramatically overhaul your entire diet overnight. Instead, I want you to pick one vegetable to start with today. Use it at one meal. Measure your blood sugar before eating and 2 hours after. Notice the difference. Then gradually incorporate the others. The key is to approach this scientifically. Keep a simple log. Write down what you eat, when you eat it, and what your blood sugar readings are. Take photos of your meals if that's easier than writing. After just a few days, you'll start to see patterns. You'll discover which vegetables work best for your body, which preparation methods give you the best results, and how to time everything for maximum benefit. I also want you to think about this as an investment in your future self. Every time you make a choice that keeps your blood sugar stable, you're not just improving how you feel today, you're reducing your risk of diabetic complications down the road. You're protecting your eyes, your kidneys, your heart, and your brain. You're maintaining your independence and quality of life as you age. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You might be thinking, this sounds too simple. If controlling blood sugar was as easy as eating the right vegetables, wouldn't everyone know about this? Here's the thing. It is simple in concept, but it requires the right knowledge and consistent application. Most people are missing crucial pieces of information about which vegetables to choose, how to prepare them, when to eat them, and what to combine them with. For example, did you know that how you cook a vegetable can completely change its effect on your blood sugar? Or that the order in which you eat different foods during a meal can make the difference between a dangerous spike and a gentle, manageable rise? These details matter enormously, especially for people over 50 whose bodies are already working harder to maintain healthy glucose levels. Another critical factor is portion size and meal composition. Even the most powerful blood sugar-fighting vegetable won't help much if you're eating it alongside a huge serving of refined carbohydrates with no protein or healthy fat to balance things out. That's why I'm not just going to tell you about these vegetables. I'm going to show you how to build complete, satisfying meals around them that keep your blood sugar stable for hours. I also want to address something I see all the time in my practice. Many people over 50 have developed what I call diabetes fatigue. They're tired of thinking about blood sugar all the time. They're overwhelmed by conflicting advice. They've tried multiple approaches that didn't work, and they're starting to feel hopeless. If that describes you, I want you to know that this feeling is completely understandable, and it's not your fault. The problem isn't that you're not capable of managing your blood sugar. The problem is that most of the advice out there is either too generic, too complicated, or based on outdated information. What I'm sharing today is specifically designed for people in your situation. It's simple enough to implement immediately, but powerful enough to create real, measurable changes in your health. Let me also say this. I understand that changing eating habits can feel overwhelming, especially if you're dealing with other health challenges or if you've been eating the same way for decades. That's why I'm going to give you multiple options for each vegetable. Some preparation methods are easier than others. Some fit better into different lifestyles. The key is to start somewhere and build from there. Remember, we're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for progress. Every meal where you make a smarter choice is a victory. Every time you choose one of these powerful vegetables over a less beneficial option, you're moving in the right direction. Small changes compound over time into dramatic results. Now, before we get into the specific vegetables, I need to talk about safety considerations, especially for people over 50. While these vegetables are generally very safe for most people, there are a few important things to keep in mind. If you're taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, some of these vegetables are high in vitamin K, which can affect how your medication works. If you have kidney disease, you need to be careful about potassium intake. If you're prone to kidney stones, there are considerations about oxalates in certain leafy greens. The key is to start slowly and pay attention to how your body responds. If you're taking any medications, especially diabetes medications, monitor your blood sugar more frequently. When you start implementing these changes, your blood sugar might improve more quickly than expected, and you might need to work with your doctor to adjust your medications accordingly. I also want to emphasize the importance of staying hydrated. These vegetables are high in fiber, which is fantastic for blood sugar control, but you need adequate water intake to process that fiber properly. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water per day. More if you're increasing your fiber intake significantly. Now, let's talk about timing. When you eat is almost as important as what you eat when it comes to blood sugar control. The general principle is to eat these vegetables at the beginning of your meal, before other foods. This allows their fiber and beneficial compounds to create a protective barrier in your digestive tract before any carbohydrates arrive. Think of it as setting up a roadblock that slows down sugar absorption. I also recommend eating smaller, more frequent meals rather than 3 large meals if possible. This keeps your blood sugar more stable throughout the day and reduces the burden on your insulin system. But if 3 meals work better for your lifestyle, that's fine too. The key is consistency and making sure each meal includes at least one of these powerful vegetables. Exercise timing is also important. If possible, take a gentle walk for 10 to 15 minutes after meals. This doesn't have to be vigorous exercise. Even a slow stroll around the block can help your muscles take up glucose from your bloodstream more effectively. If walking isn't possible, even standing and doing some gentle stretches can be beneficial. Now, let's talk about how to measure success. I want you to get a good glucose meter if you don't already have one. These are available at any pharmacy and are much more affordable than they used to be. Take your blood sugar reading 15 to 30 minutes before eating, then again 2 hours after you finish eating. Write down both numbers along with what you ate. A normal blood sugar response is a rise of no more than 40 to 50 points, with the 2-hour reading back to near your starting level. For example, if you start at 100, you shouldn't go above 140 to 150, and you should be back down close to 100 by the 2-hour mark. If you're seeing smaller spikes and quicker returns to baseline after implementing these vegetables, you'll know they're working. Keep in mind that everyone responds differently to different foods. What works amazingly well for one person might be just okay for another. That's why it's important to test these vegetables individually at first. Try one at a time for a few days, then add the second, then the third. This way, you'll know exactly which ones are your personal superstars. Also, don't get discouraged if you don't see dramatic changes immediately. Some people notice a difference within 24 hours. Others might take a week or two to see significant changes. Your body might need time to adjust, especially if you've been dealing with elevated blood sugar for a while. The key is consistency and patience. Let me also mention that these vegetables can have benefits beyond blood sugar control. Many of my patients report better energy levels, improved digestion, reduced cravings for sweets, better sleep, and even some weight loss without trying. This makes sense because when your blood sugar is stable, your entire body functions better. Now, you might be wondering about cost. One of the beautiful things about this approach is that it's actually quite economical. These vegetables are affordable, especially when bought in season or frozen. You don't need expensive supplements or specialty products. You're literally using food as medicine, which is both effective and budget-friendly. Speaking of frozen vegetables, let me address a common misconception. Frozen vegetables can be just as nutritious as fresh ones, sometimes even more so, because they're frozen at peak freshness. They're also convenient to have on hand and often less expensive than fresh vegetables. Don't feel like you have to buy everything fresh to get these benefits. Preparation is key, and I'm going to give you multiple options for each vegetable, though you can find methods that work for your taste preferences and cooking skills. Some people love raw vegetables. Others need them cooked to digest them comfortably. Some people have time for elaborate preparation. Others need quick and simple methods. I've got you covered either way. I also want to talk about the importance of variety in your overall diet. While these 3 vegetables are incredibly powerful for blood sugar control, you still want to eat a wide range of foods to ensure you're getting all the nutrients your body needs. Think of these 3 vegetables as the foundation of your blood sugar management strategy, not the entire strategy. Now, let me address something I hear all the time. I don't like vegetables. If that's you, don't worry. I've worked with thousands of people who thought they didn't like vegetables, and I've found preparation methods and combinations that even the most confirmed vegetable skeptics can enjoy. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right cooking method or seasoning combination. Taste preferences can also change over time, especially as you start feeling better. When your blood sugar is more stable, your taste buds often become more sensitive, and foods that seemed bland before might start tasting more flavorful. Many of my patients are surprised to discover they actually enjoy vegetables when they're prepared well. Let me also mention the social aspect of eating. Food is often social, and changing your eating habits can feel isolating if your family and friends aren't on board. I encourage you to share what you're learning with the people you eat with most often. Many times, they're interested in better health too and are happy to try new approaches, even if they're not ready to make changes themselves. Most people are supportive when they understand you're trying to improve your health. If you're cooking for a spouse or family members, these vegetables can easily be incorporated into meals that everyone will enjoy. You don't have to make separate meals or draw attention to the fact that you're eating differently. These are just delicious, nutritious foods that happen to have powerful blood sugar benefits. Now, let's talk about eating out. Restaurant meals can be challenging when you're trying to control blood sugar, but it's definitely possible to make smart choices. Most restaurants are happy to accommodate reasonable requests like adding extra vegetables, serving dressing on the side, or substituting vegetables for starchy sides. Don't be afraid to ask. The worst they can say is no, and most of the time, they'll be happy to help. When you can't control exactly what vegetables are available, focus on the principles I'm teaching you today. Choose dishes that include any of these 3 vegetables when possible. If they're not available, look for other high-fiber, low-starch vegetables. Eat them first, Combine them with protein and healthy fats. These strategies will help even when you can't follow the plan exactly. Travel can also present challenges, but with a little planning, you can maintain your blood sugar management routine even when you're away from home. Many hotels have mini fridges where you can store fresh vegetables. If you're staying somewhere with a kitchen, that's even better. Even if you're eating out for every meal, you can still make choices that support stable blood sugar. I want to take a moment to talk about the psychological aspect of blood sugar management. Living with diabetes or prediabetes can create a lot of anxiety and stress, which actually makes blood sugar control more difficult. Stress hormones like cortisol can raise blood sugar levels, creating a vicious cycle. One of the benefits of having a concrete plan like the one I'm sharing today is that it gives you a sense of control and empowerment. Instead of feeling helpless about your rising blood sugar, you have specific actions you can take that will make a real difference. This sense of agency is incredibly important for both your mental health and your physical health. I also encourage you to celebrate small victories. Every meal where you make a good choice is worth acknowledging. Every blood sugar reading that's in a healthy range is a success. Every day that you feel more energetic is a win. Recognizing these improvements helps maintain motivation and builds confidence that you can successfully manage your health. Now, let's address the issue of consistency. One of the biggest challenges people face is maintaining new habits over time. The excitement of starting something new can carry you through the first few days or even weeks. But real change happens when new behaviors become automatic habits. My advice is to start small and build gradually. Don't try to implement everything at once. Pick one vegetable and one preparation method. Use it at one meal per day for a week. Once that feels natural and easy, add another element. This approach is much more sustainable than trying to overhaul your entire diet overnight. It's also helpful to prepare for obstacles in advance. What will you do if you don't have time to prepare vegetables one day? What's your backup plan if your favorite vegetable isn't available at the store? Having answers to these questions before you need them makes it much easier to stay on track. I recommend keeping frozen versions of these vegetables on hand as a backup option. I also suggest having simple preparation methods in your repertoire, ways to prepare these vegetables that take just a few minutes and require minimal ingredients. This way, even on your busy days, you can still include these powerful foods in your meals. Another strategy that works well for many people is batch preparation. Spend some time once or twice a week preparing larger quantities of these vegetables that you can use throughout the week. For example, you might roast a big batch of vegetables on Sunday that you can add to different meals throughout the week. This makes it much easier to include these foods in your daily routine without feeling like you're spending all your time in the kitchen. Now, I want to talk about the importance of individualization. While the 3 vegetables I'm about to share with you are powerful for most people, everyone's body is unique. Some people might find that one vegetable works better for them than the others. Some might discover that certain preparation methods give them better results. This is why testing and tracking are so important. Don't be afraid to experiment and make adjustments based on what you observe about your own body's responses. If one vegetable doesn't seem to help your blood sugar as much as expected, that doesn't mean the approach isn't working. It might just mean that one of the other vegetables is a better fit for your individual physiology. I also want to mention that your needs might change over time. As your health improves, your body's responses to different foods might change too. What works best for you today might not be exactly what works best for you 6 months from now. This is normal and healthy. It means your body is adapting and improving. Let me also address the role of other lifestyle factors. While these vegetables are incredibly powerful for blood sugar control, they work best as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. Getting adequate sleep, managing stress, staying hydrated, and getting appropriate physical activity all support healthy blood sugar levels. You don't have to be perfect in all these areas to see benefits from these vegetables, but the more you can align your lifestyle with healthy blood sugar management, the better your results will be. Think of it as building a foundation of health habits that all support each other. Sleep deserves special mention because it has such a profound impact on blood sugar control. Poor sleep can increase insulin resistance and make blood sugar management much more difficult. If you're not sleeping well, that might be worth addressing alongside your dietary changes. Sometimes better blood sugar control actually improves sleep quality, creating a positive cycle. Stress management is also crucial. Chronic stress keeps cortisol levels elevated, which can keep blood sugar elevated too. Finding healthy ways to manage stress, whether through meditation, gentle exercise, hobbies, or social connection, can significantly support your blood sugar management efforts. Now, let's talk about working with your healthcare team. I always encourage people to keep their doctors informed about dietary changes they're making, especially if those changes are significant or if they're seeing improvements in their blood sugar levels. Your doctor needs to know if your numbers are improving because they might need to adjust your medications. Most healthcare providers are supportive of patients taking an active role in managing their health through diet and lifestyle changes. If your doctor seems dismissive of nutritional approaches, don't let that discourage you. You can continue working with them for medical management while also implementing these evidence-based dietary strategies. It can be helpful to bring your blood sugar logs to your appointments to show your doctor how these changes are affecting your numbers. Many doctors are impressed when they see concrete evidence of improvement, even if they weren't initially familiar with the specific approaches you're using. Now, before we dive into the specific vegetables, let me give you a preview of what we're going to cover. The first vegetable is a cruciferous vegetable that contains a compound that has been shown in multiple studies to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce blood sugar spikes. The second vegetable contains a unique type of soluble fiber that literally slows down carbohydrate absorption in your digestive tract. The third vegetable is packed with magnesium and other minerals that are crucial for healthy glucose metabolism, but are often deficient in people over 50. Each of these vegetables works through different mechanisms, which is why they're so powerful when used together. You're creating multiple layers of blood sugar protection. It's like having a team of specialists all working together to keep your glucose levels stable. I'm going to give you multiple preparation options for each vegetable, from simple and quick to more elaborate if you enjoy cooking. I'll also tell you exactly when to eat them for maximum benefit, what to combine them with, and what to avoid that might interfere with their effectiveness. Most importantly, I'm going to give you a specific plan for testing these vegetables so you can see exactly how they work for your individual body. By the end of today's presentation, you'll have everything you need to start seeing improvements in your blood sugar readings within 24 hours. Are you ready to discover these 3 powerful vegetables that could transform your blood sugar control? Let's start with the first one, and I guarantee you'll be surprised by how simple yet effective this approach can be. The first vegetable that can dramatically improve your blood sugar control: broccoli. But not just any broccoli prepared anyway. I'm talking about broccoli and broccoli sprouts prepared and consumed in very specific ways that maximize their blood sugar benefits. This isn't about eating sad, overcooked broccoli that tastes like cardboard. This is about understanding how to unlock the incredible medicinal properties that make this vegetable a true blood sugar warrior. Broccoli contains a compound called sulforaphane, which is one of the most powerful natural compounds for improving insulin sensitivity that researchers have discovered. Multiple studies have shown that sulforaphane can reduce blood sugar levels by up to 10% in people with type 2 diabetes. But here's the key: you have to know how to prepare and consume broccoli to get meaningful amounts of sulforaphane. Most people are doing it completely wrong. They're overcooking their broccoli, which destroys the enzyme that creates sulforaphane. They're eating it at the wrong time during their meal, missing the opportunity for maximum blood sugar protection, and they're not combining it with the right foods to amplify its benefits. Let me explain exactly how this works. Broccoli contains 2 separate compounds, Glucoraphanin and Myrosinase. When these two compounds come together in the presence of water, they create sulforaphane. Think of it like a chemical reaction that happens right in your mouth and digestive system. But this reaction is very sensitive to heat. If you overcook broccoli, you destroy the Myrosinase enzyme, and no sulforaphane gets produced. Here's the first secret. Broccoli should be cooked lightly, just until it's bright green and still has some crunch. We're talking about 3 to 4 minutes of steaming, or a quick stir fry over high heat for no more than 2 to 3 minutes. This preserves the enzyme while making the vegetable more digestible than raw broccoli, which can be hard on the stomach for some people over 50. But here's an even more powerful secret. Broccoli sprouts contain up to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. Yes, you heard that right. 100 times more. These tiny sprouts, which you can often find in the produce section next to other sprouts, are like concentrated medicine for your blood sugar. Just a small handful of broccoli sprouts can provide more sulforaphane than an entire serving of regular broccoli. Now, you might be thinking, great, I'll just eat broccoli sprouts instead of broccoli. But here's the thing. The mature broccoli provides other benefits that the sprouts don't have in the same quantities. Mature broccoli is higher in fiber, provides more volume to help you feel full, and contains other beneficial compounds. The ideal approach is to use both. Add a small amount of broccoli sprouts to your meals along with properly prepared mature broccoli. Let me give you several ways to incorporate this powerful vegetable into your daily routine, starting with the simplest methods and building up to more elaborate preparations. The simplest method is what I call the 3-minute steam. Place about a cup of broccoli florets in a steamer basket over boiling water. Cover and steam for exactly 3 minutes. The broccoli should be bright green and still firm when you bite into it. Remove it immediately and place it in cold water for about 30 seconds to stop the cooking process. This preserves maximum sulforaphane while making it digestible. Here's a crucial tip that most people don't know. Add a pinch of mustard seed powder to your cooked broccoli. Mustard seeds contain Myrosinase enzyme, which can help compensate for any enzyme that was lost during cooking. Just a small sprinkle can significantly increase the sulforaphane content of your cooked broccoli. Another excellent method is the hot oil flash cook. Heat a tablespoon of olive oil in a large pan over medium-high heat. Add minced garlic and cook for 30 seconds until fragrant. Add your broccoli florets and cook, stirring constantly for 2 to 3 minutes until bright green and tender crisp. Remove from heat immediately. This method gives you great flavor while preserving the beneficial compounds. For people who have trouble digesting raw vegetables, you can make a warm salad by blanching broccoli florets in boiling water for just 1 minute, then immediately plunging them into ice water to stop cooking. Drain well and toss with olive oil, lemon juice, and a pinch of salt. This makes the broccoli easier to digest while keeping it almost raw. Now, let's talk about broccoli sprouts. These can be eaten raw and actually taste quite mild, almost like alfalfa sprouts, but with a slight peppery bite. You can add them to salads, sandwiches, or just eat a small handful before your main meal. A serving size is about 2 tablespoons, which doesn't sound like much, but remember, these are incredibly concentrated in sulforaphane. If you can't find broccoli sprouts at your store, you can actually grow them at home very easily. You just need broccoli sprouting seeds, which you can order online, and a mason jar with a mesh lid. Soak the seeds overnight, then rinse and drain them twice a day for about 5 days until they sprout. It's incredibly rewarding to grow your own medicine, and it ensures you always have fresh sprouts available. Now, here's the critical part about timing. For maximum blood sugar benefit, you want to eat your broccoli or broccoli sprouts at the beginning of your meal, before other foods. This allows the fiber and sulforaphane to start working in your digestive system before any carbohydrates arrive. Think of it as setting up a protective barrier. Let me give you a specific example of how this might work at lunch. Start with a small handful of broccoli sprouts or about half a cup of lightly steamed broccoli dressed with olive oil and lemon. Eat this first, Then move on to your protein, perhaps grilled chicken, fish, or eggs. Finally, if you're including any starches or grains, eat those last and in moderation. This order of eating is crucial for blood sugar control. When you eat fiber-rich vegetables first, they begin forming a gel-like substance in your stomach that slows down the absorption of everything that comes after. It's like creating a time-release system for your meal. But broccoli ingests about sulforaphane. It's also an excellent source of fiber, providing about 5 grams per cup. This fiber is a mixture of soluble and insoluble fiber, both of which benefit blood sugar control. The soluble fiber helps slow glucose absorption, while the insoluble fiber helps you feel full and satisfied, reducing the likelihood of overeating or snacking between meals. Broccoli is also rich in chromium, a mineral that helps insulin work more effectively. Many people over 50 are deficient in chromium, which can contribute to insulin resistance. Regular consumption of broccoli can help address this deficiency naturally. The vitamin C content in broccoli is also worth mentioning. 1 cup provides more than 100% of your daily vitamin C needs. Vitamin C is important for people with diabetes because it can help reduce some of the oxidative stress that high blood sugar creates in the body. It also supports healthy blood vessel function, which is crucial for people managing diabetes. Now, let me address some common concerns about broccoli. Some people worry about gas and bloating from eating cruciferous vegetables. This is usually more of an issue when you suddenly increase your intake dramatically. Start with smaller portions and gradually increase as your digestive system adapts. You can also add digestive spices like ginger, cumin, or fennel to help reduce gas. If you're taking thyroid medication, you might have heard that cruciferous vegetables can interfere with thyroid function. This is only a concern if you're eating very large amounts of raw cruciferous vegetables daily and you're iodine deficient. Light cooking, as I've described, eliminates this concern for most people. If you have thyroid issues, just discuss your vegetable intake with your doctor. Another concern some people have is about the taste of broccoli. If you've been disappointed by mushy, overcooked broccoli in the past, I encourage you to try the preparation methods I've described. Properly cooked broccoli has a completely different taste and texture. It's sweet, slightly nutty, and has a pleasant crunch. You can also enhance the flavor with various seasonings. Garlic and olive oil are classic combinations, but you might also try lemon zest, red pepper flakes, toasted almonds, or even a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. The key is to keep seasonings simple so they enhance rather than mask the natural flavor of the broccoli. For people who really struggle with the taste of broccoli, you can start by mixing it with other foods. Chop it finely and add it to egg scrambles, soups, or stir-fries with other vegetables. As your taste buds adjust and your blood sugar stabilizes, you might find that you actually start to enjoy the taste of broccoli on its own. Let me give you a specific meal plan example that shows how to incorporate broccoli effectively for blood sugar control. For lunch, start with 2 tablespoons of broccoli sprouts or half a cup of lightly steamed broccoli with a drizzle of olive oil. Follow this with a palm-sized portion of grilled salmon and a small serving of quinoa or brown rice. This meal provides protein, healthy fats, fiber, and sulforaphane in the right proportions and order for optimal blood sugar response. If you're someone who enjoys cooking, here's a more elaborate preparation that maximizes both flavor and blood sugar benefits. Steam broccoli florets for 3 minutes, then shock them in ice water. In a pan, heat olive oil with sliced garlic and a pinch of red pepper flakes. Add the blanched broccoli and toss for about 1 minute, just to warm through and coat with the flavored oil. Finish with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a sprinkle of mustard seed powder. This method gives you maximum nutrition with restaurant-quality flavor. For busy days, when you don't have time for elaborate preparation, keep bags of frozen broccoli in your freezer. Frozen broccoli is flash frozen at peak freshness and can be just as nutritious as fresh. You can steam frozen broccoli directly from the freezer. Just add an extra minute or 2 to the cooking time. The key is still not to overcook it. You can also prepare larger batches of broccoli ahead of time. Steam or blanch a large amount, then store it in the refrigerator for up to 4 days. You can add it to different meals throughout the week. Toss it into salads. Add it to omelets. Mix it into grain bowls. Or just reheat it quickly as a side dish. Here's another powerful technique. Broccoli rice. Using a food processor. Pulse raw broccoli florets until they're chopped into small, rice-like pieces. You can then lightly saute this broccoli rice in a pan with a little oil for 2 to 3 minutes. This gives you a low-carb alternative to regular rice that's packed with sulforaphane and fiber. It's an excellent base for stir-fries, or it's a side dish under protein and sauce. For people who enjoy smoothies, you can add a small amount of raw broccoli or broccoli sprouts to green smoothies. The strong flavors of fruits and other vegetables will mask the broccoli taste, but you'll still get the blood sugar benefits. Start with just a small handful and gradually increase as you get used to the taste. Now, let's talk about combinations that amplify broccoli's blood sugar benefits. Broccoli works synergistically with healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds. The fats help with the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins in the broccoli and also help slow down digestion, which further moderates blood sugar response. Protein is also an excellent partner for broccoli in blood sugar management. The combination of protein and the fiber from broccoli creates an even more powerful effect on satiety and glucose control. Good protein partners include eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, tofu, tempeh, or legumes. The protein helps maintain steady blood sugar levels, while the broccoli provides the fiber and sulforaphane for insulin sensitivity. One of my favorite combinations is what I call the blood sugar stability trio: broccoli, protein, and a small amount of healthy fat. For example, a serving of lightly steamed broccoli with grilled chicken and a few slices of avocado, or broccoli sprouts on a salad with hard-boiled eggs and olive oil dressing. These combinations provide sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. Broccoli also pairs beautifully with other blood sugar-friendly foods. Try it with cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, or cabbage for a cruciferous vegetable medley. Combine it with leafy greens for maximum fiber and mineral content. Add some herbs like parsley, cilantro, or basil for additional antioxidants and flavor. Here's a practical tip for incorporating broccoli into your routine. Designate certain days of the week as broccoli days. For example, maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are days when you include broccoli in at least one meal. This creates a routine without feeling like you have to eat broccoli every single day, which can feel overwhelming. You can also use broccoli as your insurance policy for higher carb meals. If you know you're going to a restaurant or eating a meal that might include more carbohydrates than usual, eat a serving of broccoli or broccoli sprouts before the meal. This can significantly blunt the blood sugar response from the other foods. Let me share a success story that illustrates the power of broccoli for blood sugar control. Margaret, a 62-year-old patient of mine, was struggling with post-meal blood sugar spikes that were consistently reaching 180 to 200 milligrams EDL. She started eating a half cup of lightly steamed broccoli at the beginning of her lunch and dinner every day. Within 2 weeks, her post-meal spikes were down to 140 to 160. After a month, she was consistently staying under 140 after meals. The only change she made was adding broccoli to her routine. What's particularly impressive about Margaret's case is that she didn't change anything else about her diet initially. She was still eating the same foods for the rest of her meals, just adding broccoli at the beginning. This shows how powerful this one simple change can be. Now, let's talk about seasonal considerations. Fresh broccoli is typically best in fall and winter, but you can find good quality broccoli year-round in most areas. When broccoli is in season locally, that's when it will be at its peak nutritional content and lowest cost. During other times of the year, don't hesitate to use frozen broccoli, which is often more convenient and economical if you have access to a farmer's market. Look for locally grown broccoli, which is often harvested more recently than supermarket broccoli and may have higher nutrient content. You might also find purple or white varieties of broccoli, which have slightly different nutrient profiles but similar blood sugar benefits. For people interested in growing their own food, broccoli is actually quite easy to grow in cooler weather. It's a cool season crop that prefers temperatures between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Even if you only have a small garden or containers, you can grow broccoli and have the freshest possible source of this powerful vegetable. Let me address one more common question about broccoli: supplements. You might wonder if you can just take sulforaphane supplements instead of eating broccoli. While sulforaphane supplements do exist, they're expensive and may not provide all the benefits of eating the whole vegetable. Broccoli provides fiber, vitamins, minerals, and other beneficial compounds that you won't get from isolated sulfo or APHA. There's something called the food matrix effect, where nutrients in whole foods work synergistically in ways that isolated compounds can't replicate. The sulforaphane in broccoli works together with the fiber, vitamin C, chromium, and other compounds to create a more powerful effect than any single compound alone. That said, if you absolutely cannot tolerate broccoli in any form, sulforaphane supplements are better than nothing. But I encourage most people to focus on getting these benefits from whole foods whenever possible. Now, let's talk about troubleshooting common problems people encounter with broccoli. The most common complaint is that it causes gas or digestive discomfort. This usually happens when people suddenly start eating large amounts of cruciferous vegetables without giving their digestive system time to adapt. Start with smaller portions, maybe a quarter cup of cooked broccoli at first, and gradually increase over a week or two. You can also try adding digestive spices like ginger, cumin, or caraway seeds to help break down the compounds that can cause gas. Cooking the broccoli lightly, as I've described, also makes it much easier to digest than raw broccoli. Another issue is that some people find broccoli bitter. This is often because they're overcooking it or because they have a genetic variation that makes them more sensitive to certain compounds in cruciferous vegetables. Try the lighter cooking methods I've described, and don't be afraid to add some healthy fats like olive oil or a squeeze of lemon, which can help balance any bitter flavors. If you're someone who really struggles with the taste or texture of broccoli, you can disguise it in other foods while still getting the benefits. Finely chopped broccoli can be added to meatballs, egg salad, or pasta salad. You can blend cooked broccoli into soups or sauces. The key is to start with small amounts and gradually increase as your taste buds adapt. Here's another practical strategy: pair broccoli with foods you already love. If you love garlic, make garlic sautéed broccoli. If you love cheese, try a small sprinkle of Parmesan on your steamed broccoli. If you love Asian flavors, try broccoli with ginger and soy sauce. Finding flavor combinations you enjoy makes it much easier to stick with this healthy habit. For people who are always on the go, consider keeping small containers of pre-cut raw broccoli and broccoli sprouts in your refrigerator. These can be grabbed quickly for snacks or to add to meals. Raw broccoli with a bit of hummus or almond butter can be a satisfying snack that also provides blood sugar benefits. You can also make broccoli more convenient by preparing larger batches and freezing them in meal-sized portions. Blanch fresh broccoli for 1 minute, cool in ice water, drain well, and freeze in individual containers. These can be quickly reheated throughout the week. Let me give you one more advanced technique for maximizing broccoli's benefits. There's some research suggesting that letting chopped raw broccoli sit for about 40 minutes before cooking can increase sulforaphane formation. This gives the enzymes time to start converting Glucoraphanin to sulforaphane before the cooking process begins. So, if you have time, chop your broccoli, let it sit while you prepare other ingredients, then cook it lightly. This technique is necessary to get benefits from broccoli, but it might give you a slight edge if you want to maximize the medicinal properties. It's just another tool in your toolkit for getting the most out of this powerful vegetable. Before we move on to the second vegetable, Let me give you a specific action plan for testing broccoli's effects on your blood sugar. For the next 3 days, I want you to try this experiment. Choose one meal per day. Let's say lunch. On day 1, eat your normal lunch and measure your blood sugar before eating and 2 hours after finishing. On day 2, start your lunch with half a cup of lightly steamed broccoli with a drizzle of olive oil and a pinch of salt. Eat this first, then eat the same meal you had on day 1. Again, measure your blood sugar before and 2 hours after eating. On day 3, start your lunch with 2 tablespoons of broccoli sprouts if you can find them, or another half cup of steamed broccoli if you can't find sprouts. Again, follow with the same meal and take the same measurements. Compare your blood sugar responses across these 3 days. Most people will see a noticeable reduction in their post-meal blood sugar spike when they include broccoli, especially on day 3 with the sprouts. This simple experiment will show you exactly how powerful this vegetable can be for your individual metabolism. Keep notes about how you feel after each meal as well. Many people notice that they feel more satisfied and have fewer cravings when they include broccoli in their meals. This is partly due to the fiber and partly due to the blood sugar stabilizing effects. Now, let's move on to the second powerful vegetable that can transform your blood sugar control. This vegetable works through a completely different mechanism than broccoli, and when used together, they create a synergistic effect that's more powerful than either one alone. The second vegetable is okra, and I know what you might be thinking. Many people have strong opinions about okra, often negative ones based on poorly prepared, slimy okra they've encountered in the past. But when you understand how okra works for blood sugar control and how to prepare it properly, it becomes an incredibly valuable tool in your diabetes management toolkit. Okra contains a unique type of soluble fiber called mucilage. This mucilage is actually what gives okra its characteristic slimy texture when overcooked. But when prepared correctly, this same compound becomes a powerful ally in blood sugar control. The mucilage forms a gel-like substance in your digestive tract that literally slows down the absorption of carbohydrates and sugars. Think of it like a protective coating that lines your intestines and creates a barrier that glucose has to pass through slowly rather than rushing into your bloodstream all at once. This can dramatically reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes, especially when okra is eaten before or with carbohydrate-containing foods. Multiple studies have shown okra's effectiveness for blood sugar control. In one study, people with diabetes who consumed okra water daily for 10 days saw significant reductions in their fasting blood glucose levels. Another study found that okra extract improved insulin sensitivity and reduced blood sugar spikes after meals. But here's the key: you have to know how to prepare and consume okra to get these benefits without the unpleasant texture that turns many people off. I'm going to share several preparation methods that minimize sliminess while maximizing the blood sugar benefits. The first method is what I call the high heat, quick cook technique. Cut okra into half-inch rounds, but here's the crucial step. Pat them completely dry with paper towels after cutting. Heat a tablespoon of oil in a pan over medium-high heat. Add the okra and don't move it for about 2 minutes, allowing it to get golden brown on one side. Then stir and cook for another 2 to 3 minutes until lightly browned all over. This method caramelizes the outside of the okra while keeping the inside tender, and the high heat and minimal stirring prevents the release of too much mucilage. The result is okra with a pleasant, almost nutty flavor and minimal sliminess. You can season it with salt, pepper, garlic, onions, or any spices you enjoy. Another excellent method is roasting okra in the oven. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Cut okra into half-inch pieces, toss with a small amount of olive oil and salt, and spread in a single layer on a baking sheet. Roast for 15 to 20 minutes until the edges are golden brown and slightly crispy. This method gives you okra with a completely different texture, almost like a healthy chip, with no sliminess at all. For people who want to maximize the mucilage content for blood sugar benefits, there's the okra water method. This involves soaking sliced okra in water overnight, then drinking the water in the morning. The water becomes slightly thick and gel-like from the dissolved mucilage. While this might sound unappetizing, many people find that the mild, almost neutral taste is quite tolerable, especially when mixed with lemon juice or a small amount of honey. The okra water method provides a concentrated dose of the blood sugar lowering compounds without having to eat the vegetable itself. It's particularly useful for people who really can't tolerate the texture of okra but want the benefits. You can prepare a week's worth at once by soaking larger amounts of okra and storing the strained liquid in the refrigerator. If you're going to try okra water, here's how to do it properly. Wash about 8 to 10 fresh okra pods and slice them into rounds. Place them in a glass of water and let them soak overnight at room temperature. In the morning, strain out the okra pieces and drink the water on an empty stomach about 30 minutes before breakfast. Start with just half a glass to see how your body responds. Then gradually increase to a full glass if you tolerate it well, for people who prefer to eat okra rather than drink it. There are several delicious ways to incorporate it into your meals. One of my favorite methods is okra curry. Saute onions, garlic, and ginger in a pan. Add curry spices like turmeric, cumin, and coriander. Then add okra pieces and a small amount of liquid. Cook covered for about 10 minutes until the okra is tender. The spices mask any sliminess, and the slow cooking allows the mucilage to dissolve into the sauce, providing maximum blood sugar benefits. Okra also works beautifully in stews and soups, where its thickening properties are actually an advantage. It can replace artificial thickeners while providing health benefits. Try adding okra to vegetable soups, chicken stews, or bean dishes. The longer cooking time in liquid allows the mucilage to fully dissolve and distribute throughout the dish. For a simple side dish that works with almost any meal, try this preparation. Heat olive oil in a pan, add sliced onions and cook until soft. Add okra pieces and cook for about 5 minutes. Then add diced tomatoes and cook for another 5 minutes until everything is tender. Season with salt, pepper, and herbs like oregano or basil. This combination of vegetables is not only delicious, but provides multiple types of fiber and antioxidants. Now, let's talk about timing and dosage. For blood sugar control, okra is most effective when consumed before or at the beginning of meals that contain carbohydrates. The mucilage needs to be in your digestive system before the carbohydrates arrive to create the most effective barrier against rapid glucose absorption. Typical serving size for blood sugar benefits about half a cup of cooked okra or 1 glass of okra water. You don't need huge amounts. The mucilage is quite potent even in relatively small quantities. Start with smaller amounts and gradually increase as you gauge your body's response and your tolerance. For the vegetable, one of the advantages of okra is that it's very low in calories and carbohydrates, while being high in fiber and beneficial compounds. A half cup of cooked okra contains only about 25 calories and 2 grams of net carbohydrates, but provides about 4 grams of fiber. This makes it an excellent choice for people who need to watch their calorie and carb intake while maximizing nutritional benefits. Okra is also rich in several nutrients that are particularly important for people managing diabetes. It's a good source of magnesium, which is crucial for insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. Many people with diabetes are deficient in magnesium, so regular consumption of okra can help address this deficiency naturally. The vegetable also provides folate, vitamin C, and vitamin K, all of which support overall health and may have specific benefits for people with diabetes. Vitamin C helps reduce oxidative stress that high blood sugar can cause, while folate supports healthy blood vessel function. Let me address some common concerns about okra. The most obvious one is the texture issue. If you've had bad experiences with slimy okra in the past, I encourage you to try the preparation methods I've described. The key is either cooking it quickly at high heat to minimize mucilage release, or cooking it long enough in liquid that the mucilage dissolves completely into the dish. You can also start with smaller pieces of okra mixed into other foods. Finely chopped okra can be added to scrambled eggs, grain dishes, or mixed vegetable preparations where it's less noticeable but still provides benefits. As you get used to it, you can gradually use larger pieces and feature it more prominently in your meals. Another concern some people have is availability. Okra might not be available year-round in all areas, or your local stores might not carry it regularly. Frozen okra is an excellent alternative. It's often pre-cut, which saves preparation time, and it's available year-round. The blood sugar benefits are the same whether you use fresh or frozen okra. If you can't find okra at regular grocery stores, check ethnic markets, particularly those serving Southern, Indian, Middle Eastern, or African communities. Okra is a staple vegetable in many cuisines and is more likely to be available at markets that serve these communities. For people interested in growing their own okra, it's actually quite easy to grow in warm weather climates. Okra loves heat and sun and produces prolifically throughout the summer. Each plant can produce okra continuously for months, so even a few plants can provide a substantial harvest. Fresh, young okra pods are the most tender and have the best flavor. Now, let's talk about some specific ways to incorporate okra into different types of meals. For breakfast, you can add finely chopped okra to omelets or frittatas. The eggs mask any texture issues, and you get the blood sugar benefits right at the start of your day. You can also add okra to breakfast hash with other vegetables and protein. For lunch, okra works well in salads if it's prepared correctly. Try the roasted okra method I described earlier. The crispy texture works beautifully as a salad topping, almost like healthy croutons. You can also add cold, cooked okra to grain salads or pasta salads. Dinner is where okra really shines. It's traditional in many cuisines and pairs well with protein dishes. Try it with grilled fish, roasted chicken, or in vegetarian dishes with beans and other vegetables. The key is to think of okra as a versatile vegetable that can take on the flavors of whatever you cook it with. 1. Preparation that works particularly well for people new to okra is what I call okra fries. Cut okra into strips. Toss with a small amount of olive oil and seasonings, then bake at high heat until crispy. These can be served as a side dish or even as a healthy snack. The crispy texture is completely different from traditional slimy okra preparations. Here's another technique that works well. Pickle okra lightly. Pack okra spears into jars with vinegar, water, salt, and spices, and let them sit in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours. The acidic environment changes the texture and creates a tangy vegetable that can be eaten as a snack or added to salads and sandwiches. The pickling process doesn't eliminate the blood sugar benefits. For people who enjoy smoothies, you can actually add a small amount of okra to green smoothies. Use just 1 or 2 small pods and blend thoroughly with stronger flavored fruits and vegetables. The mucilage actually gives smoothies a nice, creamy texture, and the mild flavor is easily masked by other ingredients. Let me share another success story about okra's blood sugar benefits. James, a 59-year-old patient, was seeing consistent post-meal spikes to 200 milligrams EDL or higher, especially after dinner. He started drinking okra water every morning and eating a half cup of sautéed okra with his dinner. Within 2 weeks, his post-dinner spikes were down to 160 to 170. After a month, he was consistently staying under 150 after meals. He told me the okra water was actually quite pleasant once he got used to it, and he found ways to prepare okra that his whole family enjoyed. Now, let's talk about potential interactions and precautions with okra. One important consideration is that the mucilage in okra can potentially interfere with the absorption of certain medications if taken at the same time. This is particularly relevant for people taking Metformin or other diabetes medications. If you're taking Metformin, I recommend spacing your okra consumption at least 2 to 4 hours away from your medication doses. Take your Metformin, wait at least 2 hours, then have your okra. Or have your okra with a meal, then wait to take your medication until the next meal. This ensures that you get the benefits of both the medication and the okra without interference. This interaction is dangerous. It's just that the mucilage might coat the medication and slow down its absorption. By spacing them apart, you avoid this potential issue entirely. Always discuss any dietary changes with your healthcare provider, especially if you're taking multiple medications. Another consideration is that okra is relatively high in vitamin K, which can affect blood clotting. If you're taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, you should maintain consistent intake of vitamin K-rich food rather than suddenly increasing or decreasing them dramatically. Adding okra to your diet is fine, but do it gradually and inform your healthcare provider. For people with kidney stones, particularly those prone to calcium oxalate stones, it's worth noting that okra does contain some oxalates. This doesn't mean you can't eat okra, but you might want to limit it to a few times per week rather than daily consumption. And make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Some people may experience digestive changes when they start eating okra regularly, particularly if they're not used to eating much soluble fiber. Start with smaller amounts and gradually increase to allow your digestive system to adjust. The high fiber content is beneficial for blood sugar control, but it can cause gas or bloating if introduced too quickly. Let me give you a specific protocol for testing okra's effects on your blood sugar. Choose a meal that typically causes a significant blood sugar spike for you. Maybe a dinner that includes rice, potatoes, or bread. For 3 days, follow this testing protocol. Day 1. Eat your normal meal and measure blood sugar before eating and 2 hours after finishing. Record both numbers and how you feel. Day 2. Drink a glass of okra water about 30 minutes before the same meal. Then eat exactly what you had on day 1. Take the same blood sugar measurements and note how you feel. Day 3. Start your meal with half a cup of cooked okra prepared using one of the methods I described. Then eat the same meal as the previous days. Again, take your measurements and notes. Most people will see a noticeable reduction in their post-meal blood sugar spike on days 2 and 3, with day 3 often showing the best results because you're getting the mucilage benefits plus the fiber from eating the whole vegetable. Pay attention not just to your blood sugar numbers, but also to how you feel after meals. Many people notice that they feel more satisfied and have fewer cravings for sweets when they include okra in their meals. This is partly due to the blood sugar stabilization and partly due to the filling effect of the fiber. Here's an advanced technique for people who want to maximize okra's benefits. Combine it with the broccoli I discussed earlier. The sulforaphane from broccoli and the mucilage from okra work through different pathways to control blood sugar. Having both in the same meal can create a synergistic effect that's more powerful than either vegetable alone. A simple way to do this is to start your meal with a mixed vegetable dish that includes both lightly steamed broccoli and sautéed okra. Season them together with garlic, olive oil, and herbs. This combination provides multiple types of fiber, sulforaphane, mucilage, and a variety of other beneficial compounds. You can also use both vegetables in soups and stews. A vegetable soup that includes broccoli, okra, and other non-starchy vegetables can be a powerful tool for blood sugar control when eaten before meals or a light meal itself. For people who meal prep, both broccoli and okra can be prepared in larger batches and stored in the refrigerator for several days. This makes it easy to add them to different meals throughout the week without daily preparation. Before we move on to the third vegetable, let me emphasize that consistency is key with okra, just as it is with broccoli. You don't have to eat okra every single day to see benefits, but regular consumption, say 3 to 4 times per week, will give you better results than having it occasionally. Also, remember that okra works best as part of a complete meal that includes protein and healthy fats. The combination of fiber from okra, protein, and fat creates the most stable blood sugar response. Don't try to rely on okra alone to control blood sugar spikes from large amounts of refined carbohydrates. Now, Let's move on to the third and final vegetable in our blood sugar fighting trio. This vegetable works through yet another mechanism and provides nutrients that are particularly important for people over 50 who are managing diabetes or pre-diabetes. The third powerful vegetable for blood sugar control is dark leafy greens, specifically focusing on kale, spinach, and collard greens. Now, you might be thinking that leafy greens are too simple or common to be as powerful as I'm claiming. But the research on leafy greens and blood sugar control is absolutely compelling, especially for people over 50. Dark leafy greens work for blood sugar control through several mechanisms that are particularly relevant as we age. First, they're incredibly rich in magnesium, a mineral that's crucial for insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. Studies show that magnesium deficiency is common in people with diabetes, and adequate magnesium intake can improve insulin sensitivity by up to 10%. Second, leafy greens contain natural nitrates that help improve blood flow and may enhance the delivery of glucose to muscle cells, helping to clear glucose from the bloodstream more efficiently. Third, they provide a specific type of antioxidant called alpha-lipoic acid that can improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation associated with insulin resistance. But, perhaps most importantly for immediate blood sugar control, dark leafy greens provide what I call the fiber shield effect. When eaten at the beginning of a meal, they create a protective layer in your digestive tract that significantly slows down the absorption of carbohydrates that come after them. The key difference between leafy greens and other vegetables is their incredible nutrient density relative to their carbohydrate content. A full cup of raw kale contains only about 7 calories and 1 gram of net carbohydrates, but provides more than 100% of your daily vitamin K needs, significant amounts of vitamin C and vitamin A, and substantial amounts of magnesium, folate, and other crucial nutrients. This nutrient density is particularly important for people over 50 because our nutrient needs often increase with age, while our calorie needs may decrease. Leafy greens allow you to get maximum nutrition with minimal impact on blood sugar. Let me start with kale, which has become incredibly popular in recent years, sometimes to the point of being overhyped. But when it comes to blood sugar control, kale truly deserves its superfood status. One study found that people who ate kale regularly had 14% better glucose tolerance compared to those who didn't eat leafy greens regularly. The key with kale is preparation. Raw kale can be tough and bitter, which turns many people off. But when prepared correctly, it becomes tender and flavorful. The most important technique is massaging raw kale. This might sound silly, but it makes a dramatic difference in texture and digestibility. Here's how to massage kale properly. Remove the thick stems and tear the leaves into bite-sized pieces. Place them in a bowl and drizzle with a small amount of olive oil and a pinch of salt. Using your hands, literally massage the kale leaves for 2 to 3 minutes, squeezing and working the leaves until they become darker in color and significantly reduced in volume. This breaks down the tough cellular structure and makes the kale tender and sweet. Massaged kale can be eaten raw in salads, and it's particularly effective for blood sugar control when eaten at the beginning of meals. Try a simple massaged kale salad with lemon juice, olive oil, and a sprinkle of nuts or seeds. Eat this before your main course to create that protective fiber barrier I mentioned. Kale can also be lightly cooked, which some people find easier to digest. Saute kale in a pan with a little olive oil and garlic for just 2 to 3 minutes until it's wilted but still bright green. Overcooking kale makes it mushy and reduces its nutritional content, so keep the cooking time brief. One of my favorite kale preparations is kale chips. Tear kale into chip-sized pieces, removing the stems. Toss with a small amount of olive oil and salt. Then bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 12 minutes until crispy. These make an excellent snack and can satisfy crunchy cravings without raising blood sugar. Spinach is another powerhouse leafy green that's particularly good for blood sugar control. It's milder in flavor than kale and more familiar to most people. Spinach is exceptionally high in magnesium and also contains compounds called thylakoids that can help reduce cravings and slow down digestion. Fresh spinach works beautifully in salads and can be eaten raw without any special preparation. It wilts quickly when cooked, so it's perfect for adding to scrambled eggs, omelets, soups, and stir-fries at the last minute. A handful of spinach added to any dish provides significant nutritional benefits with virtually no impact on blood sugar. One technique I love is the spinach-base method. Instead of eating salads on a bed of lettuce, use spinach as your base. The nutritional difference is dramatic. Spinach provides much more magnesium, folate, and other nutrients than lettuce while still giving you that fresh, crisp texture. Spinach also works well in smoothies if you enjoy them. A handful of fresh spinach in a smoothie provides significant nutrients while barely affecting the taste, especially when combined with fruits and other vegetables. This is an easy way to get leafy greens for people who struggle with eating them in other forms. Collard greens are the third leafy green I want to highlight, particularly for people from southern backgrounds who might be familiar with them. Traditional collard green preparation often involves cooking them for hours with pork fat, which reduces their nutritional content and adds unhealthy fats. But when prepared correctly, collard greens are incredibly nutritious and beneficial for blood sugar control. The key with collard greens is to cook them lightly to maintain their nutritional content while making them tender. Remove the thick stems and tear the leaves into manageable pieces. Saute them in olive oil with onions and garlic for about 5 to 7 minutes until wilted and tender. You can add a splash of vegetable broth or water if needed to prevent sticking. Collard greens can also be used as wraps instead of tortillas or bread. The large, sturdy leaves make excellent vessels for holding protein, vegetables, and other fillings. This is a great way to enjoy sandwich-type meals without the blood sugar impact of bread or tortillas. Now, let's talk about the timing and quantity of leafy greens for optimal blood sugar control. The most effective approach is to eat leafy greens at the beginning of meals, before other foods. This allows their fiber to start working in your digestive system before carbohydrates arrive. A typical serving for blood sugar benefits is about 1 to 2 cups of raw leafy greens or half a cup to 1 cup of cooked greens. This might sound like a lot, but remember that leafy greens shrink dramatically when cooked. 2 cups of raw spinach cooked down to about half a cup. You don't have to eat leafy greens at every meal to see benefits, but daily consumption is ideal if possible. Try to include them in at least 1 meal per day, rotating between different types to get a variety of nutrients and keep things interesting. One of the most powerful techniques is the green starter approach. Begin every lunch and dinner with a small salad of mixed leafy greens dressed simply with olive oil and lemon juice. This creates a consistent routine that provides blood sugar protection throughout the day. Let me share a specific success story about leafy greens. Patricia, a 64-year-old patient, was struggling with afternoon energy crashes that correlated with blood sugar spikes and drops after lunch. She started eating a large spinach salad before her regular lunch every day. Within a week, her post-lunch blood sugar spikes decreased significantly and her afternoon energy levels stabilized. After a month, she reported feeling more alert and focused throughout the afternoon. Leafy greens are also incredibly versatile and can be incorporated into almost any type of cuisine. They work in Italian dishes, Asian stir-fries, Mexican cuisine, Indian curries, and traditional American meals. This versatility makes it easier to maintain consistent consumption without getting bored. For Italian-inspired meals, try sautéed spinach with garlic and a splash of lemon juice, or add kale to minestrone soup. For Asian dishes, quickly stir-fry any leafy greens with ginger, garlic, and a small amount of soy sauce. For Mexican cuisine, use collard greens as wraps for tacos or add them to bean dishes. Preparation and storage tips can make leafy greens much more convenient to use regularly. Wash and dry leafy greens as soon as you bring them home, then store them properly to extend their freshness. Kale and collard greens keep well in the refrigerator for up to a week, while spinach is more delicate and should be used within a few days. You can also prep larger batches of massaged kale or cooked greens and store them in the refrigerator for quick use throughout the week. Having prepared greens ready to go makes it much easier to include them in meals consistently. Frozen leafy greens are another excellent option, particularly spinach and kale. They're often more convenient and economical than fresh, and the nutritional content is comparable. Frozen greens work particularly well in cooked dishes, smoothies, and soups. Now, let's talk about potential concerns with leafy greens. The most significant consideration is for people taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin. Leafy greens are high in vitamin K, which plays a role in blood clotting. If you're taking blood thinners, you don't have to avoid leafy greens, but you should maintain consistent intake. The key is to not suddenly increase or decrease your consumption of leafy greens dramatically. If you want to add more leafy greens to your diet and you're taking blood thinners, do it gradually and inform your healthcare provider so they can monitor your blood clotting times and adjust your medication if necessary. Another consideration is oxalates, naturally occurring compounds found in many leafy greens, particularly spinach. For most people, oxalates aren't a concern, but if you have a history of kidney stones, especially calcium oxalate stones, you might want to limit spinach and choose kale or collard greens more often. Some people also experience digestive changes when they suddenly increase their intake of leafy greens significantly. The high fiber content is beneficial, but it can cause gas or bloating if introduced too quickly. Start with smaller portions and gradually increase as your digestive system adapts. For people who have difficulty chewing or swallowing, raw leafy greens can be challenging. In this case, focus on cooking methods that make them tender, or consider adding them to smoothies where they're completely blended. You can also chop them very finely to make them easier to manage. Let me give you some specific preparation techniques that maximize both the blood sugar benefits and the palatability of leafy greens. For kale, one excellent method is the quick wilt technique. Heat a pan over medium heat. Add a small amount of olive oil, then add chopped kale and a splash of water or broth. Cover and cook for just 2 minutes until wilted. This method preserves most of the nutrients while creating a tender texture. For spinach, try the flash sauté method. Heat oil in a large pan over medium-high heat. Add minced garlic, then add all the spinach at once. Toss quickly with tongs for about 1 minute until just wilted. Remove from heat immediately. This gives you perfectly cooked spinach without the mushy texture that comes from overcooking. Collard greens benefit from what I call the steam saw technique. Remove the stems and stack several leaves at a time, then roll them up and slice them into ribbons. This is called chiffonade. Heat oil in a pan, add the collard ribbons with a splash of liquid. Cover and steam for about 3 minutes, then uncover and saute for another 2 minutes until tender. For people who want to maximize the blood sugar benefits of leafy greens, there's an advanced technique called green loading. This involves eating a substantial portion of leafy greens, about 2 cups of raw or 1 cup of cooked, at the very beginning of meals that contain significant carbohydrates. This creates maximum fiber protection against glucose absorption. Green loading works particularly well for meals you know will challenge your blood sugar control, like restaurant meals or special occasions where you might be eating foods you don't usually have. Having a large salad before the main meal can significantly blunt the blood sugar response. You can also use what I call the green sandwich technique. Instead of eating leafy greens just at the beginning of the meal, have some at the beginning, some mixed in with your main course, and some at the end. This creates sustained fiber exposure throughout the meal, providing continuous blood sugar protection. Another powerful approach is combining different types of leafy greens in the same meal. A salad that includes kale, spinach, and arugula provides a wider range of nutrients and beneficial compounds than any single green alone. Each type of leafy green has slightly different properties that can complement each other. For people who struggle with the taste of leafy greens, there are several strategies to make them more palatable. First, focus on freshness. Old, wilted greens are more bitter and less appealing than fresh ones. Second, don't be afraid to use healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds, which can help balance any bitter flavors and improve the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Acid is another powerful tool for improving the taste of leafy greens. Lemon juice, lime juice, or vinegar can brighten flavors and reduce bitterness. Try a simple dressing of olive oil, lemon juice, salt, and pepper on any leafy green salad. Sweet elements can also help balance bitter flavors without significantly impacting blood sugar. A few berries, a small amount of grated apple, or even a tiny drizzle of honey can make leafy greens much more appealing, especially when you're first getting used to eating them regularly. Umami flavors. Savory, rich taste can also make leafy greens more satisfying. Try adding a small amount of Parmesan cheese, nutritional yeast, mushrooms, or tomatoes to leafy green dishes. These flavors can make vegetables feel more substantial and satisfying. For people who enjoy cooking, there are countless ways to incorporate leafy greens into more complex dishes. Try adding them to pasta dishes in the last minute of cooking, stirring them into grain bowls, or using them as a bed for roasted vegetables and protein. Leafy greens also work beautifully in egg dishes. Add a handful of spinach to scrambled eggs, make a frittata with kale and other vegetables, or create a breakfast hash with collard greens and other morning vegetables. Starting your day with leafy greens can help stabilize your blood sugar for hours. Soup is another excellent vehicle for leafy greens. They can be added to almost any soup in the last few minutes of cooking. This is particularly useful for people who find raw greens hard to digest. The liquid and gentle cooking make them very easy on the digestive system while preserving most of their nutrients. Let me share another success story that illustrates the power of leafy greens for blood sugar control. Robert, a 67-year-old patient, was experiencing morning blood sugar readings that were consistently too high despite taking medication. He started having a green smoothie every morning made with spinach, a small amount of fruit, protein powder, and water. Within 2 weeks, his morning readings improved significantly, and after a month, they were consistently in the normal range. He told me he actually looked forward to his morning smoothie and felt more energetic throughout the day. Now, let's talk about seasonal considerations for leafy greens. Different greens are at their peak at different times of the year, which can help you vary your intake and always have the freshest, most nutritious options available. Kale is actually a cold weather crop that gets sweeter after frost, so it's often at its best in fall and winter. Spinach is also cool weather crop that's typically best in spring and fall. Collard greens can tolerate both heat and cold better than other leafy greens, making them available longer through the growing season. Taking advantage of seasonal availability not only gives you the best tasting and most nutritious greens, but also helps keep costs down. When greens are in season locally, they're usually less expensive and more flavorful than out-of-season options that have been shipped long distances. If you have any outdoor space, leafy greens are among the easiest vegetables to grow yourself. Even a small container garden can produce substantial amounts of fresh greens throughout much of the year. Many leafy greens can be harvested multiple times from the same plant, giving you a continuous supply of the freshest possible vegetables. For people interested in maximizing the nutritional content of their leafy greens, there are a few advanced techniques worth considering. Eating leafy greens with a source of vitamin C can increase iron absorption. Since many leafy greens contain both iron and vitamin C, this often happens naturally, but you can enhance it by adding citrus fruits, tomatoes, or bell peppers to leafy green dishes. Combining leafy greens with healthy fats improves the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, E, and K. This is one reason why salad dressing isn't just about taste. It actually helps you get more nutrition from your greens. Olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds are all excellent choices. There's also some evidence that lightly cooking leafy greens can make certain nutrients more bioavailable while preserving others that are better when raw. This is why I recommend using both raw and cooked leafy greens in your routine, rather than sticking to just one preparation method. Now, let me give you a specific protocol for testing the blood sugar effects of leafy greens. This test is particularly important because leafy greens work more subtly than some other interventions. Their effects build up over time and become more apparent with consistent use. For 1 week, track your blood sugar patterns with your current eating habits. Take readings before meals and 2 hours after meals, and note how you feel throughout the day, particularly your energy levels and any cravings you experience. For the second week, add a large serving of leafy greens to the beginning of your lunch and dinner every day. Choose whichever preparation method appeals to you most: raw salads, sautéed greens, or a combination. Continue taking the same blood sugar measurements and notes about how you feel. Many people notice that their post-meal blood sugar spikes are smaller and their energy levels are more stable when they include leafy greens regularly. You might also notice that you feel fuller longer after meals and have fewer cravings for sweets or snacks between meals. The effects of leafy greens often become more pronounced over time as your body's nutrient status improves. Magnesium deficiency, for example, doesn't resolve overnight, but after a few weeks of consistent intake of magnesium-rich leafy greens, your insulin sensitivity may improve noticeably. Here's an advanced technique for people who want to maximize the benefits of all 3 vegetables I've discussed today. Create what I call a blood sugar protection meal that includes all 3. Start with a salad of massaged kale or spinach. Follow with steamed broccoli and sautéed okra as side dishes. Then have your protein and any moderate portion of healthy carbohydrates. This combination provides sulforaphane from the broccoli, mucilage from the okra, and magnesium and fiber from the leafy greens. Each vegetable works through different mechanisms, creating a synergistic effect that's more powerful than any single vegetable alone. You don't have to eat all 3 vegetables at every meal to get benefits, but having this power combination a few times a week can be incredibly effective for blood sugar control. It's particularly useful for meals where you know you'll be including more carbohydrates than usual. Let me also talk about how to combine these vegetables with other blood sugar-friendly foods for complete, satisfying meals. The general principle is to fill half your plate with these vegetables, 1/4 with lean protein, and 1/4 with complex carbohydrates or additional non-starchy vegetables. Good protein choices include fish, poultry, eggs, tofu, tempeh, legumes, and lean meats. These provide sustained energy without blood sugar spikes and help you feel satisfied longer. The protein also helps slow down the absorption of any carbohydrates in the meal. For the carbohydrate portion, choose complex carbohydrates that are high in fiber and nutrients. Good options include quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes, beans, lentils, and whole grain bread in moderate portions. The key word is moderate. Even healthy carbohydrates can cause blood sugar spikes if portions are too large. Healthy fats should be included in every meal to help with nutrient absorption, satiety, and blood sugar stability. Good choices include olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish. These fats help slow digestion and provide sustained energy. Now, let me address some common mistakes people make when trying to use vegetables for blood sugar control. The first mistake is thinking that adding vegetables to an otherwise unhealthy meal will somehow cancel out the negative effects. While vegetables certainly help, they can't completely overcome the effects of large portions of refined carbohydrates or sugary foods. The second mistake is not eating enough vegetables to get meaningful benefits. A few bites of broccoli or a couple of leaves of spinach won't provide the blood sugar protection you need. You need substantial portions, the amounts I've specified throughout this presentation. The third mistake is improper timing. Eating these vegetables at the end of a meal, after you've already consumed carbohydrates, won't provide the same blood sugar protection as eating them first. The fiber needs to be in your digestive system before the carbohydrates arrive. Another common mistake is overcooking vegetables, which can destroy many of the beneficial compounds and make them less effective for blood sugar control. The preparation methods I've described are specifically designed to preserve the active compounds while making the vegetables palatable and digestible. People also sometimes give up too quickly if they don't see dramatic changes immediately. While some people notice improvements within 24 hours, others may take a few weeks to see significant changes, especially if they've been dealing with elevated blood sugar for a long time. Consistency is more important than perfection. Let me give you a practical meal planning strategy that incorporates all 3 vegetables throughout the week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday could be broccoli days where you include broccoli in at least one meal. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday could be okra days. Sunday could be a combination day where you use multiple vegetables together. For leafy greens, try to include them daily, even if it's just a handful of spinach and eggs or a small side salad. Because they're so low in calories and carbohydrates, you can be more liberal with portions than with other vegetables. This rotation system ensures that you're getting the benefits of all 3 vegetables without feeling like you have to eat the same things every day. It also helps with meal planning and grocery shopping. You know exactly which vegetables you need for which days. Batch preparation can make this system much more manageable. Spend some time on weekends preparing larger quantities of each vegetable that you can use throughout the week. Steam a large batch of broccoli, saute a big pot of okra, and massage a large bowl of kale that you can add to different meals. Store prepared vegetables in glass containers in the refrigerator. Most will keep for 3 to 4 days, giving you quick access to blood sugar fighting vegetables throughout the week without daily preparation. For people who travel frequently or have very busy schedules, consider keeping frozen versions of these vegetables on hand as backup options. While fresh is ideal, frozen vegetables are much better than no vegetables, and they can be prepared very quickly when you're short on time. Let me also talk about how to handle social situations and eating out while maintaining your blood sugar control routine. Many restaurants are happy to accommodate requests for extra vegetables or to substitute vegetables for other sides. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need to maintain your health. When you can't control the menu exactly, focus on the principles rather than the specific vegetables. Look for any high-fiber, non-starchy vegetables and eat them first. Choose dishes that include vegetables prominently rather than as an afterthought. For social gatherings where you're not sure what will be available, consider eating a small salad or some prepared vegetables before you go. This ensures that you get some blood sugar protection even if the available options aren't ideal. Bringing a vegetable dish to share is another great strategy for social events. You ensure that there is something appropriate for you to eat, and you might introduce others to delicious ways of preparing blood sugar-friendly vegetables. Now, let me talk about monitoring your progress and adjusting your approach based on what you learn about your body's responses. Keep a simple log that tracks what vegetables you eat, when you eat them, your blood sugar readings, and how you feel after meals. Look for patterns in your responses. You might discover that broccoli works particularly well for you, or that okra gives you better results at dinner than at lunch. This individual variation is normal and important to understand so you can optimize your approach. Don't be discouraged if your results don't match exactly what other people experience. We all have unique metabolisms, different medication regimens, varying stress levels, and different overall health situations. The key is to find what works best for your individual body and circumstances. As your blood sugar control improves, you might find that you can tolerate slightly larger portions of healthy carbohydrates, or that your energy levels are more stable throughout the day. These are all positive signs that your metabolic health is improving. Some people also notice improvements in other areas of their health when they start eating these vegetables regularly. Better digestion, clearer thinking, improved sleep, and even some weight loss are common side effects of better blood sugar control and improved nutrition. If you're working with a healthcare provider to manage diabetes or prediabetes, make sure to keep them informed about the dietary changes you're making and the improvements you're seeing. They may need to adjust your medications as your blood sugar control improves. Many healthcare providers are impressed when they see patients taking an active role in managing their health through evidence-based dietary strategies. Even if they weren't initially familiar with these specific approaches, most are supportive when they see positive results. Let me conclude with some thoughts about the long-term benefits of incorporating these 3 powerful vegetables into your daily routine. While the immediate goal is blood sugar control, the benefits extend far beyond just glucose management. These vegetables provide compounds that support healthy aging, brain function, cardiovascular health, and immune system function. They help protect against the oxidative stress and inflammation that contribute to many age-related health problems. By taking control of your blood sugar now, you're also reducing your risk of diabetic complications in the future. Better blood sugar control protects your eyes, kidneys, nerves, and blood vessels. It helps maintain your independence and quality of life as you age. The skills you develop in preparing and enjoying these vegetables will serve you well throughout your life. Learning to cook and eat in ways that support your health is an investment that pays dividends for decades to come. Remember that every meal is an opportunity to make a choice that supports your health. You don't have to be perfect, but consistency in making good choices compounds over time into dramatic improvements in how you feel and how well your body functions. These 3 vegetables, broccoli with its sulforaphane, okra with its mucilage, and leafy greens with their magnesium and fiber, are powerful tools that can help you take control of your blood sugar and your health. They're affordable, accessible, and when prepared correctly, they're delicious. The most important step is to start. Choose one vegetable, one preparation method, and try it today. Measure your blood sugar response. Pay attention to how you feel. Build from there, adding more vegetables and refining your approach based on what you learn about your own body. Your health is worth this investment of time and attention. These simple, natural approaches can make a profound difference in how you feel today and how healthy you remain for years to come. The power is literally on your plate, waiting for you to use it. Take action today. Your future self will thank you for the choices you make right now. Every meal where you include these powerful vegetables is a step toward better health, more stable energy, and greater confidence in your ability to manage your blood sugar naturally. Thank you for taking the time to learn about these powerful tools for blood sugar control. I hope you'll put this knowledge into action and experience the benefits for yourself. Remember, small changes made consistently can lead to dramatic improvements in your health and quality of life.